Welcome to Community Conversations, the CUAround Community Podcast all about you, your neighbourhoods and the people living in them. Each week we meet a lovely community member living locally and learn all about them, their passions and what attracted them to their neighbourhood. This week, personal trainer Joel Neale joins us to talk about reaching your fitness goals during Ramadan, career changes at 30, and all things nostalgic in Dubai. This is Community Conversations. So hello, Joel.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Okay, so I think the first thing that I want to ask, and I've asked a lot of people this, how was COVID?
Interesting. I was very fortunate enough to have access to a garden. I think I would have gone insane. So in general, I think I landed on my feet with it. I took my business online. I was able to stay busy, still doing 3 to 5 hours of PT a day.
You are a personal trainer.
I am.
And that's why it was important for you to have a garden, so you could get outside and work out and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your, the story of Joel.
Story of me. I've always been, into my sport. My father introduced me into golf at the age of 5. Having an older brother helps you be a little bit more competitive. And I got into golf very early on. Bottom of my heart, I always wanted to turn professional. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I obviously worked towards. Went back to the UK at one point on a golf scholarship to a boarding school. Didn't last very long. About a year, came back, realised what I had in Dubai, pursued that, turned professional at the age of 19. When I was 16, 17, 18, I started working with a physiotherapist and a swing coach. And it was a lot of the exercises that I was doing with my physiotherapist was injury preventative, and I could see the benefits in my posture and how my posture had changed, because being quite tall, I'd gone through a very sort of drastic growths, but very early on, and I could see a lot of muscular imbalances, and I was quite conscious of that, as well as being slightly overweight. So I kind of really got knuckled down into the fitness side of things, saw my benefit through my own golf game, and after turning professional, I played on the Asian Development Tour, and I started to gravitate closer and closer to gyms. I was more concerned about the proximity, the distance to the gym after my round.
Oh, really?
To the golf club. So I started then and question my aspirations. I then started to look at my sports exercise science qualifications. People who I generally play golf with started to ask me about diet, nutrition, exercise, and I thought, wow, okay, I can actually monetize from this now. I can actually get involved and earn a bit more of a consistent income. And let's try it. Let's see what happens. And it really just took off. I've just loved every single moment. I love to help people. There's so much return we get from seeing somebody go through their own transformation, or at least improving their lifestyle.
I love the fact that you mentioned that you were in the UK for less than a year. I can imagine playing golf in the rain isn't as nice as playing it in the sun.
Unless you've got a pair of marigolds in your bag to grip the golf club. It's ultra wet, ultra cold, and I don't know if I would have stayed with golf through my youth if I'd have grown up there.
Definitely.
Does that make sense to me?
I moved here when I was 12. I like coining the term expat brat because I always felt like I wasn't one of them, because I worked for what I wanted in Dubai.
Yeah, it's been a really, really interesting place to grow up.
Oh, 100%. I think it's one of the greatest stepping stones. I mean, you said that you created your own online business. If you were in the UK, that probably would have been a lot harder, or your clientele would have been a lot smaller.
Absolutely, definitely.
It's Ramadan at the moment. There are still people who want to kind of reach their fitness goals and where they want to stay healthy, but they're fasting. What advice would you give them in terms of how they would reach their fitness goals during this holy month? It's a good question.
It's a very good question, and it'll come to people every single year. And I think, what's the best way? What do I do?
I think what people end up doing is they just don't go to the gym for an entire month.
And I think, that's probably the worst thing you can do. I'm a firm believer in use it or lose it. Mm-hmm. And, as soon as you stop doing something, it's much, much more difficult to get started again.
Yeah.
The motivation is far greater. You may encounter some form of discomfort, knots, tightness, if through a lack of mobility. So I'd say move as much as you possibly can. Stay hydrated as much as you can after iftar and before your suhoor, and be mindful of the intensity that you are training at. Work within your own limits. This isn't a time to make personal records or lift the heaviest possible. Talking about the safety of things, you should understand that dehydration causes a 2 to 3% lack in strength, a 2 to 3% lack in power, a 10% lack in muscular endurance or hit. So even if you break your fast, you're still going to be dehydrated from not consuming water for 12 plus hours. So therefore, you're not going to have, your blood's thicker. It's a lot more work for your body to regulate its temperature. A lot harder for your body to, your heart stroke volume to deliver nutrients and electrolytes to your muscles and oxygen. So you're going to feel fatigued much more than usual. And I'd say probably that's going to affect you by about a good 20%. You'd want to keep your workouts to about 25 to 30 minutes and not sort of 45 minutes to an hour. So you're almost half the time, 3/4 of the time. Again, if you're somebody who runs 5 kilometers 3 times a week, you probably want to be mindful of your heart rate or get yourself a Fitbit and work to a sort of lower intensity. So, still go for your 30 minutes, 25 minutes, but rather than working at a 155 beats per minute to 175, you're working at a 145 to 155.
Okay.
And you're still getting a workout, but it is controlled.
You're not aiming for personal bests.
Absolutely not. You're not aiming for personal
goal,
bests. You're just trying to move.
Yeah.
A study was done from 2011 over, I think, 173 families. Monitored weight-wise. Everybody checked in, all family members checked in, and obviously had another check-in at the end of the 4 weeks, the Ramadan, and 60% of those families gained weight. They're not meant to be eating. You would think having a light breakfast and a light iftar and then post-meal, you're going to consume less, right? Given the fact that you do some form of exercise. And even if you were to dull it down, as I said, but you are skipping at least one meal a day, your lunch. So it's very interesting to see that, exercise and nutrition, portion control go hand in hand to losing weight. I mean, you could have the most nutrient-dense diet, massive 1,000 calorie, 2,000 calorie salad, avocado, your fats, your omega-3s, your salmon, but you simply wouldn't lose weight from it, right? So, the main thing would be is to just portion control as well.
I think portion control is a big one that is forgotten about during iftars. I've been to iftars before, and it's like the most beautiful buffet, and I will stuff my face.
You've got every single thing.
In terms of portion control with that sort of food, how much rice should somebody be eating? How much mutton and lamb should somebody be eating?
I'd say it's all relative to your body weight and your body composition. How much muscle mass you carry will determine directly have an impact on your metabolic rate, metabolism, how many calories your body burns in 24 hours. So given, a height and weight, do you want to look at your protein, carbs and fats, your macronutrients, and you'd want to be, protein bias, and you just want to have a balance between carbohydrates and fats. I mean, the easiest or general rule of thumb I like to go is a fist size of protein, lean protein, 2 fists on veggies, and generally speaking, half a fist of carbs and half a fist of fats on your plate. So the half a fist of fats, how do I measure fat? It could be, half an avocado, it could be a drizzle of olive oil, it could be, a dollop of cheese or sour cream on the side of your plate to round off your meal. And I think if you can stay on top of, at least getting 2 portions or, 4 fists of veggies a day, that's a carbohydrate in itself, just higher fiber, and you're going to feel full and satisfied on that. So,
and then that would make your fast during the day a lot easier as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're helping your body to, you're trying to deliver, because you're skipping meals now, your exposure to nutrients is going to be much less. So you need to be, if anything, more, sort of concerned and on top of your diet and your intake and where you're getting your vitamins and minerals from, so that you can go through a fasting day and not feel like at the end of the month you've had the life sucked out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. We've heard that you are changing your career path.
After all of that.
Yeah, after all of the fitness talk, what are your plans? What are you planning on doing? Could you tell us?
Yes, I'm looking, actually, I've been something that's in the back of my mind for the past 18 months or so now, to move into real estate.
Okay.
And I purchased my first property, my own property, back in the UK last February.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it's always been, an interest of mine to get into property development later on in life. I looked at personal training, what my interests were, and providing a service is what I'm still going to be doing in real estate, is obviously help families find either their dream home, investors get stuck into something that's going to give them a higher return, just challenge myself in a different way.
I am obsessed with anything real estate. I look at homes all the time. Homes I can't afford, homes I would love to refurbish.
I absolutely love that. You're sitting on Zoopla or all these websites, and you're looking at these houses, and you're like, okay, it's a $10 million house, and you go, I'd never put that coffee table there. You're like,
exactly. What have they done with that kitchen?
And you're like, as if we can judge them, because
this home I could never afford.
We're living in something the size of their kitchen.
Literally. What's your favourite community in the UAE? Both Dubai,
this is going to be biased because it's where I've spent 13 years. So I'd say the Arabian Ranches.
Okay.
Just loved it. It's very nostalgic. Driving around the place.
Yeah.
A neighbourhood that I've kind of grown up in. And just love the community feels. And it's just got everything there you need. And it's kind of like, it's close enough but far enough to be out of this hustle and bustle.
You were saying about like nostalgia with Arabian Ranches. For me, I was a Murdiff baby. So
Murdiff.
I lived in Murdiff. I lived in the sticks. That's what everybody used to say. Like and then my friends would live in like Al Muntaza, which was in like Jebel Ali.
Exactly.
And so all my friends were like,
all your pocket money going on taxis every weekend.
I know, before the metro opened. And as soon as the metro opened, I'd be on that for an hour and a half to catch all my friends.
I know exactly how you feel, and I think for me, being in the ranches at that point in time, the ranches were in the sticks.
Yeah.
It was like 15, 20 minutes from Mall of Emirates, and it was like that was the nearest thing. That on Sakim Street now, with all those developments along there, and Dubai Hills, which is there. And
do you remember the big roundabout?
I did.
Do you remember how large that roundabout used to be? My first experience of Dubai was going to visit a couple of schools, and one of the schools was Jess at Arabian Ranches. And I remember being stuck at that roundabout. And then I think the taxi driver that was taking us there told us it was like the world's largest roundabout.
It was. I think it was like 3.5 kilometres or 3 kilometres.
Absolutely
in
insane.
And take you. I think there are about 6 sets of lights or 4 sets of lights around it. And the queue initially to get onto it and then to get off it, and the number of 18-wheeler trucks that would hog the outside lane. Yeah. And as you were trying to obviously exit the roundabout, how many accidents that would occur. It's just like an absolute nightmare. So very thankful that I've built that. The most insane flyover,
underpass, loops, whatever. It's one of my favourite things to do. And it's the same when I look at properties as well. So I'm sure maybe you like doing this. If you don't, you should. It's really, really fun to do. Is go on Google Earth. They have like a time machine, so you can go on.
Wow, like a time lapse, so you can go back 5, 10, 15 years.
Exactly. So I think one of the earliest for Dubai is like 1985. So you can go back to what Arabian Ranches was like in 1985, which is just a desert. And then you can like watch the development build, and you can watch the roundabout change to the flyovers. And I love doing that one, and I love doing it for the Palm as well. I love watching which fronds were built first, which properties were put on the fronts first. I am definitely a fan of nostalgia and looking back on what things used to be like. There used to be a website, and it was called Dubai as It Used to Be, and it was from a guy who I don't know his name, I've forgotten his name, but he ran the website and people would submit photos. But he lived here in the 60s before Dubai was even Dubai, and it was like all of this sort of stuff that was happening, when it was pearls, pearl diving,
that was the industry, sure.
And it's just really, really interesting. I've always found it fascinating. Making the decision to have a career change at 29, what has kept you motivated to do that?
I think, I've had nearly a decade in fitness, 10 years in fitness, and it just happens to be that I'm going to be 30 this year, and I thought, okay, I was looking at the bigger picture and just a bit of self-evaluation, this year, and go, okay, what have I achieved last year, the last 3 years, last 5 years, what am I working towards? And every couple of years, you have to readjust that compass to essentially keep yourself on track.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're still going for what you set out to achieve a couple of years ago, and obviously you've met those goals, you set some new goals. And I kind of tried to move into the fitness management side of things a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, for experience and for other reasons, I decided to then move back into personal training and then freelance. And I've just kind of missed a little bit of direction with where I saw myself going, other than delivering, the best possible quality or service that I could as a personal trainer. And I thought, okay, there's a new decade around the corner now, and it's not too late if I leave it 1, 2, 5, 6 years. It's easily said, and we forget about our goals and direction that we're going in. So I thought, okay, new leaf, new chapter, new decade, to try and move into something else. And I really feel like I need to challenge myself a little bit more mentally, and go back to the drawing board with learning things. And I'm not saying that, I've reached the pinnacle in personal training, and I obviously far from it, but I just find other things interesting as well.
Yeah.
And I think getting into personal training was almost by accident from my golf, which led me there, and I just had this fascination with it and took off, and now I kind of want to learn something completely new and get my teeth stuck into that. So I think the motivation to learn something new is definitely, like the carrot dangling on the stick there for me to go, okay, this looks really interesting, and at a time where probably couldn't be a better time to get involved in the industry.
I try to find motivation in things, and I do struggle with it sometimes.
As we all do. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and goes,
I am motivated.
Whoa, yes, B505, here I come to tackle the day. But I think you've got to reflect every now and then, and you've got to assess what you actually like, what you want out of life, where you see yourself going. And it's not all about tomorrow. I mean, personal training is about enjoying the moment.
Definitely.
Being able to have those flexible hours during the day, being able to go to the beach. But there is a lot of sacrifice, of evenings and working in people's sort of leisure time, social events, which I've had to, bonk on the head for forever,
all my life.
Yeah.
So at the end of every podcast, I do a quick fire round. Where's your best place to get a coffee?
Best place to get a coffee? Coffee, just because I absolutely love coffee. My favourite would have to be PQ.
PQ? I've never heard of that.
Le Pain Quotidien.
Oh,
my Belgian,
Le Pain
or my French is not
Quotidien or something.
Very good. Le Pain Quotidien. But their coffee is really nice. Amazing.
Best place for a massage?
2 places. I just can't distinguish between these two. It's TCM, Acupuncture and Therapy Centre. It's like a Chinese massage therapy acupuncturist place that's behind Mall of the Emirates. They've got a couple of them actually all over. And DISC, Diverse Integrated Sports Clinic.
For like sports massages and stuff?
Sports massages, sports treatments, that kind of thing. Because obviously, as much as it is relaxing to have a Moroccan bath and cucumbers on my eyes, I'd rather go out doing something and have a proper treatment.
Where is the best place to catch some rays? Get yourself a tan.
I always tend to burn myself at the secret beach.
Oh, at the secret beach. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
Because there is no, it's not commercialized. You park, it's very nostalgic for me because we used to park our car on JBR. Yeah. We used to go and have a barbecue at JBR, do some dune bashing. But it's got a very nostalgic feel for me again. I keep using that word. But I really like how it's been left. sort of little piece of old Dubai. It's really
There's
like
something
turquoise.
also quite magical and, again, like we've said a number of times, nostalgic of being able to drive up to the beach, park your car and walk over
and
instead
free.
of having
it's
to
free.
pay for parking, which is a common occurrence here now.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, amazing. Thank you, Joel, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Bella, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Well, I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Community Conversations is recorded at the podcast studio at Rove Downtown Dubai. Thank you so much to Joel Neale for joining me today, and you can find him on Instagram at jn.fitlife. If you want to be part of Community Conversations, make sure you email me, bella@CUAround.app. For all things community, events and lifestyle, download the CUAround Community app now.